Like, we're gonna end up here. Yeah, so you end up right before Duke. But, what was I saying? Duke has really long legs. I never noticed that before. I think you're right. Anyway, the game. Gameplay. I love this game's gameplay. I'm gonna talk about what I like about it. I'm gonna talk about some things that I think are not bad per se, because I don't think this game has any gameplay. It's terrible, but there are some things that I think put it down a bit for me personally. I do think the gameplay is fun. I love the skill system. I love how deep it is. You could do crazy stuff in this game. Like, if you put the time in to learn the gameplay and learn the skills and how characters work, you are in for a treat. Like, this game has really deep combat. And this is like one of the last Tales of games to have deep combat. I'm not saying later Tales of games are bad. Like, no. I'm not saying that at all. Vesperia is still fun. Zillia is still fun. Grace's F is probably the last one that has deep mechanics. But even then, this game has a level of strategy that I would never see in later games. Like, this game has so much depth, and you can like aerial combat being a thing, you could just go so deep with it. You could do so much with it. And most of that is referred to, like, with the characters. They're just really fun to play as. Like, specifically Judith, you could do some crazy stuff with her. But yeah, gameplay is really fun. I love the combos. I love... Overlimit's great. This is where one of my first negative comes in. I think Overlimit's kind of worthless until you get level 4. Because I find Overlimit, the fact that you can get staggered out of Overlimit, like, you could just get knocked around when you're in level 1 to 3 Overlimit. If you're just trying to fight a boss. When you get level 4 Overlimit, the strategy just becomes wait for level 4 Overlimit, then just use it. But again, I really wish Overlimit was just more useful before level 4, because level 3 is actually pretty good too, but level 4 is where it's at, because you get invincibility. You don't get damaged, you don't get staggered, so I really wish they balanced Overlimit better. Another thing, Invincibility Frames. I think Invincibility Frames are fine, but I do think when the bosses get knocked down, it's really hard to continue comboing on them. But again, that can kind of be remedied if you're playing with, like, a team of all mages, but still, it got very annoying when you had to, like, wait for the bosses to get up and your attacks weren't going through. Another thing, very minor. Again, these are, like, minor things with the gameplay, but this doesn't make the game bad, but getting Mystic Arts was difficult. I feel like Zillia getting a Mystic Art was so much easier, or Grace's F getting a Mystic Art was easier. In this game, you had to wait for the very last hit of your attack to hit. Like, if the beginning of your let's use Dragon Swarm as an example. But let's say Dragon Swarm hits the enemy, right? And the enemy walks away from it. If your last hit of Dragon Swarm doesn't hit the enemy, you won't get the Mystic Art. Which, I think that's fine. But I think Grace's F and Zillia change it where, as long as any part of your attack, if it makes contact, then you get the Mystic Art. But that's not how it works in this game. It's a little annoying. It did happen on a few occasions, but it's fine, not a big deal. I'm trying to think what else to say. Also, this isn't really a bad thing, but there's so many skills to get in this game, so it's just like, this game is huge. Like, you could spend so much time with it. Like, this is easily one of the longest and biggest Tales of games based on content alone. There are a lot of side quests too, so like, there's a lot you're in for. But anyway, I also thought the side quests were really well done too. Side quests were amazingly done. I think the side quests flesh out the characters even more, which is great. And the side quests are, I wouldn't say necessary to enjoy the game, but I would say the side quests make you enjoy the game more. I definitely would say that. But yeah, I think gameplay's done. Now, finally, story and characters. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to let my feelings out on it. We'll start with story, I think. I do think the story is... How do I put this? Story isn't bad. Let's start there. Story is not bad. I think the story can use some work. Like, I think the beginning's fine. The story starts off with Yuri meeting Estelle and wanting to catch the Blasty Thief. Relatively simple. Tales of games usually start off with a simple premise, and then you start, like, you start going into, like, deeper layers. But, I do think the story falls flat, specifically in Act 3. Actually, the very end of Act 2. I feel like Alexei as a villain is just... like, not fleshed out at all. I feel like Alexei as a villain, you could kind of predict it, I guess, because Alexei just looks evil from looking at him, but I feel like he's just, like... He didn't get enough build-up to being a villain, which is very unfortunate. And, I would have liked more build-up. I mean, there is a side quest that tells you Alexei had research, but again, I really don't think they should have a side quest tell you that. I feel like the main story should flesh out Alexei more. They did kind of say, like, Alexei was just crazy and he was just trying to use Zaghi as a weapon and basically, whatever, world domination. But they should have done better with that in the main story. Very unfortunate they didn't, but you know, it be that way. Duke as a villain. Another thing I'm going to talk about, Duke as a villain is fine. I do think this really just goes into the side quest again. I think if you skip the side quests, you really don't get much out of Duke. I feel like the game, the impact scenes at the ending, it has much more impact if you do the Duke side quest. If you don't do the side quest involving Duke, I really feel like Duke is not going to do much for you. Like, he could be a fine villain. Like, he wants to eliminate humanity. Like, he's not necessarily evil. He just has the wrong motives. He just wants to eliminate humanity because of an experience and he just hates humans and all that. So, that's fine, but I really feel like without the side quest, you don't get much justification for him, which is unfortunate. Either way, I think Duke's a fine villain. Very similar to Gaius, but I feel like Gaius was done a tad bit better because Gaius got development through the main story. But yeah, that's all good. I do want to talk about what the story does right. The theme of justice, I love it. I love the theme of justice. Like, Yuri is a phenomenal character. This goes into why I like Yuri so much, but the theme of justice is fantastically well done. Like, the idea that Yuri, if Yuri has to get his hands dirty, he will. Like, he will go against the law if it means doing what he thinks is right. I think that theme is centered really well. Also, Flynn as a character is great, because Flynn and Yuri have, like, opposing viewpoints. Like, Flynn believes that the law is absolute, and Yuri believes that the law isn't always the way to go. So, I do love how they interpret that, and that's handled really well when he kills Rigaud and Q-More. So, I just think Yuri is a phenomenal character, and I think that's why this story is good. And Flynn is a good, rival slash friend to him. They're kind of rivals throughout the game, but they're childhood friends. But Flynn is a great, opposing someone to go against Yuri. Not really against Yuri, but his ideology. I can talk, I swear. Ask anyone that can talk. But his ideas going against Yuri's, just them having opposing viewpoints, I think is fantastically well done. Another thing I want to talk about, the guild. The guild concept's neat. I like that they start a guild. I think Brave Vesperia is, like, my favorite group of characters. Like, Tales of Grace's F has my favorite cast of Tales of characters. But I think as a group, Vesperia wins. I think Vesperia's cast of characters is phenomenal. I think as a group, they go really well together. Not that they're not good separately. They are, but, like, I really feel like their banter and their interactions together is where it's at. And I really wish throughout the game they would establish, oh, we're a guild, because Rita is way too, I know it's part of Rita's personality, but Rita is way too distant on this whole Brave Vesperia thing for way too long. And Estelle never establishes herself as a guild mate until, like, later in the game, but either way, I think it's really well done. I also love just their guild. They're a great group. They're a great rowdy bunch. I enjoyed the skits, I enjoyed the character interactions. But yeah, I don't really have much I want to say on the story. The story is just, it's good. It's good. Like, I think the story's fine. It handles the theme of justice well. I do wanna say that Act 3 is very rushed. I know a lot of people hate on Act 3, and I don't hate on it as much as other people. But, I don't know, I find it odd that the game just shifted from justice to, like, the Blastia thing. The Blastia is neat. The Blastia was part of the story the whole time, but I don't know, I find Act 3, it's not bad, but it could have been, it was a little rushed, I guess. I'm not going to go too much into that because it's not a big deal. Oh, you got back, Connor? Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You just missed half of the final boss and then the ending. I'm just talking about the game right now. But, Act 3 wasn't bad. A lot of people say Act 3 is bad. I don't think Act 3 is bad. I just think it's the weakest. I think Act 1 was pretty strong because it was introducing you to the characters. I think Act 2 was strong because it had the justice theme imbued in it. But yeah, I think the story is pretty solid. I don't think it's, like, the best Tales of story, but you know what? It gets the job done. I feel like just Yuri as a character, and Flynn even, make this story great. And the idea of justice is great. And finally, we're going to talk about the characters. We are going to talk about them. I'm not going to rank them officially, but I am going to tell you who my favorites are and who my least favorites are. So I'll do like what I did. I did this for Symphonia. I did this for Zilia. I'm going to try doing this for every... Oh, and Grace's F I did it for. I'm gonna do it for every single Tales of game. Try to rank these characters. But there's now I really I'm gonna rank them like this. So there are 9 characters in this game. So obviously ninth place is going to be ninth place took a while for me because like I think it's Carol. I think Carol's ninth place. I've talked about, I mean, it's no secret if I've been playing this game the whole time. I've talked about why Carol's my least favorite. And I also want to make it clear, I don't think Carol's like a terrible character. I do find him much more likable than anyone else. But I do think just Carol's character's the weakest. Just because Carol's just happy-go-lucky the whole time, which isn't a problem, but when you compare it to everyone else, it's just like, it's there. And yeah, Carol could have had moments with, he started the guild, yes, he did, but like also, I don't know. Carol doesn't really justify much as a character, but Carol does have some good moments, specifically with the Bye to Joe, which was great. But other than that, also, Carol in the very beginning of the game is so annoying and so unlikable. He's so cocky, and it takes him a bit to get likable, I guess. But again, Carol isn't bad. Carol's just the worst one. But yeah. And number 8. So we got, trying to count this out. I think number 8 is Rapide. I think it's unfair. I shouldn't even count Rapide, to be honest. Like, Rapide's a dog. Like, how do I rank a dog? I mean, obviously, Rapide's like the best character. Rapide's a dog. But like, for real though, I don't even think I should count Rapide because it's very unfair to rate Rapide. He's a dog and he can't really do much, but Rapide does have pretty good character. But I'm honestly not even gonna count Rapide, I think. So Carol will be 8th place. 7th place, I'm gonna anger a lot of people in my comments. I'm gonna anger probably my Twitch chat, not really maybe like a few people in my Twitch chat. But I'm gonna anger some people, and I'm sorry, it's a pretty hot take, but Patty's 7th place. I'm sorry I said it. You can put down your pitchforks. I'm gonna try to justify myself. So, in theory, Patty isn't bad. I think Patty is fine. However, she's very annoying. She's very annoying how she's constantly, like, has a crush on Yuri, and Yuri, marry me this, marry me that. It gets very annoying. I tried so hard to like her, and I do kind of like her to an extent, but I don't know, like, I don't really understand why people like Patty so much. In gameplay, she's phenomenal. In gameplay, she's great. She's got great art. She's fun to play as. Her spells are really fun to use. But I don't see the appeal in story. Like, everyone just gets mad when they hate on Patty, but I don't get it. She's one of the weakest characters. I almost put her in last place. But, she's so whiny. She's constantly in love with Yuri, which is just weird. And there's something else I hate. The whole Ivory twist. I think it's handled, I don't think it's terrible per se, but I think it's handled pretty bad. Like, they don't even entirely explain how Patty is Ivory. They don't really go into depth. I mean, people told me reincarnation, and I'm like, okay, but where's the game's justification for that? Where's the game telling me it's reincarnation? I think side quests do flesh it out a bit, but again, I really hate the side quests not being in the main story. I think that the main story should do a decent job at that, but yeah, Patty's just really annoying. Patty's like a worse version of Carol because she's more annoying. Okay, good. Connor's pitchfork is not raised. I'm sure there are going to be some people who are mad, but I don't care. Patty is not that great of a character. Like, I just think, I don't know, I think she was implemented fairly well into the game, but again, I just think she's too whiny. She has that crush on Yuri, which is weird. And when you affiliate the fact that she's Ifreed, when you associate that this little girl who is supposed to be the boss of the Siren's Fang having a crush on Yuri, it's just weird. It's really weird to think about. But yeah, that's why Patty's 7th place. She's almost last place, but can I actually switch that? Can I switch that? I kind of want to switch that. Like, I'm talking about Patty like she's this annoying child, and I'm like, can I make Patty last place? Because, yeah, Carol's annoying for, like, the beginning of the game, but Carol is, like, only annoying for, like, the first 5 to 10 hours. Like, I kind of want to switch that. I think Patty's gonna be 8th place, and, Carol is 7th. I think that's what I'm gonna do, because, like, I'm talking about Patty, I'm like, wow, she really isn't that great. Alright, this is where it gets hard. This video might be long because I'm trying to think of my rankings. I should have prepared a list. I did not have time to, unfortunately. Now we're at the good characters. Like, how do I do this? I mean, not that Patty and Carol, not that Patty and Carol aren't great, but now we're at the really hard ones. 6th place? I don't know. I'm thinking Rita or Judith. It's either Rita or Judith, but I can't think which one. I don't know. Rita or Judith? I don't know, dude. Like, Rita and Judith? I don't know. I'm gonna just talk about Rita and Judith, and maybe I'll think of rankings. Like, I'll think of who's where. Let's talk about Rita for a bit. Rita's good. I like Rita. She's, like, very smart about Blastia. I like her whole, I like how she's kind of, how do I put this? I like how she's kind of, like, socially awkward type, and then she slowly warms up to, like, getting a first friend. Like, because she literally has no friends or family. She says it in the game, and she gets close with Estelle. I do love her. I love how close she gets with the group and Estelle. And, sometimes I laugh when she hits Carol. But, in all seriousness, I think Rita's handled pretty well. And I also love how she gets a relationship with Judith, too. So, I think Rita kind of warms up to the group, and I think she's pretty great. And she's got her whole tsundere act on, so she kind of blushes, which is kind of adorable. But, yeah. Rita's good. I think Rita would be 6, because, like, Rita isn't bad, but again, I feel like outside of that whole thing, there's not really much I want to say about her. And yeah, she's a Blastia genius, but, you know, she does solve most of the game's problems. But yeah, Rita is not bad. Like, Rita is, like, far from it, but I really don't know how else to rank her. So she's 6th, I think. I think she's definitely 6th place, but she's definitely not a bad character. She's really good. I think she's handled really well. And a lot of people hate on Rita for, like, dumb reasons. But yeah. I think she has good development. And she also learns, like, to move on from Blastia. That's what the whole ending does. So that's great. I think that's handled well. I don't want to read that comment in chat because I hate it. I hate it. But, no hate, but more power to you. I don't like it. But anyway, 5th place. Possibly Judith. I think Judith's 5th place, and I think Judith's fine. I heard a lot of people telling me that Judith is not a good character and doesn't have much development. And I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, I feel like Judith's development mostly goes into the side quests. I do think Judith suffers from the problem that most of her development is in the side quests, and in the story character, you get a good bit of her. Like, I kind of like how mysterious she is. She's part of the Cridians and stuff like that. I also like how, I mean, at first I thought she was just destroying Blastia for the fun of it, but no, she actually has her reasons. She, like, you know, the side quests flesh out Judith a lot more, but in the main story, she's just pretty good. Could have used more work, but I think Judith's great, you know. She wanted to do a favor for the Antilocheia. That's why she destroyed the Blastia, helping out Pharaoh and all that. I think it's great. Judith is handled well, but again, she suffers from the problem that too much of her development is in side quests. Like, without the side quests, you don't really get much out of her. But you get enough out of her that she's considered a great character. But, yeah, Judith's great. I don't really have much to say about her. She is, like, really kind of funny how she, like, teases everybody. Specifically, like, Rita. I think it's pretty great. I don't really have much to say with her. Also, I know everyone's gonna ship Yuri and Estelle, but I kind of ship Yuri and Judith. I don't know why. I feel like they fit. It's not really the canon relationship, but yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on Judith, just that she's pretty good. Alright, now we're on the top 4 characters. I think Estelle is 4th place. I think that's fair. Estelle is 4th place. So, this is where we get, like, a little bulky, because these characters I have a lot to say about. But, Estelle, I'm gonna say I wasn't really a fan of her character early game, but, I think Estelle developed fairly well. Her being a sheltered princess and wanting to explore the world. I think that's handled well. I kind of like her relationship with Yuri. I love how the game doesn't ship them. They really make Yuri and Estelle seem more like a brother and sister. I can kind of see it, and I love it. So, I kind of like how the game's not like, oh, it's a love story about Yuri and Estelle getting together. I think the game benefited from that. Like, the fact that they don't make Yuri end up with anybody is good. But yeah, let's talk about Estelle. Estelle's good. I think Estelle's handled well. Again, her relationship with Rita is great, and, she's fairly simplistic. Like, her character development is simplistic. It's like she's pure-hearted. She's a healer. She wants to help everyone in need. And later she finds out she's a poison, so, she has to kind of think about her actions. And the side quest, this is an example of a character who gets enough development in the main story, but also the side quests flesh her out a bit. I think Estelle's handled well because, like, her side quests kind of include, like, her doing, like, her actions may not always be the best. And the Antilocheia also justify that too, because she finds out that her healing the Antilocheia is killing them, or not killing them, but it's like making them go savage or whatever. But she learns that she can't just like go into things doing what she does best, and sometimes her actions can actually hurt others. So I think Estelle is like, it's a fairly simplistic concept of like development, but it's handled well. Like, I don't know if people actually say this, but I'd rather a character have a simplistic development than no development at all. Or not development, but a simplistic, like, character growth or whatever. But yeah, I don't really have much to say on Estelle either. I think that's pretty much it. I think Estelle's handled well, and the game does center on her, so she gets most of the focus. And yeah, yeah, handled well. Third place. Possibly Raven. I think Raven's third place. Raven's hilarious, first of all. Raven's really funny. He may go a little too far when he talks about, the swimsuit side quest I don't even want to talk about. But, Raven's great. I love his... Again, I just think the characters go really well together. I love his relationship with everybody. Like, everyone just calls him Old Man, which I find hilarious. And he gets a relationship with Carol, which I really like. And his whole thing with helping out the Dawn and Altosk is really nice, I think. And the thing with Schwann, like, justifies this even more. And, the fact that he's Schwann, really, really ominous, really mysterious. And, there are some hints throughout. Like, it's a lot better handled than the Ifried twist. And his heart running on Blastia. I thought that was really cool. So, Raven's great. Like, Raven's good. Third place, I think he just has, like, a lot of depth and a lot of moments that are funny, which is why he's up there for characters. And this is like no secret for anyone watching this. Flynn is second place. I already talked about Flynn, so this is going to be like a dumbed down version of what I said. But Flynn, his idea of justice with the law is great, and I think Flynn goes really well with Yuri. They both have opposing viewpoints. I'm kind of going to talk about them together because I feel like talking about them together is accurate. But Flynn believing that the law is absolute and Yuri wanting to do things his own way, really good. I think Flynn isn't really in much of the game, but I think Flynn is handled well despite that. And obviously, Flynn's development is related to Yuri, so I feel like you really have to put them together. Like, I don't ship Yuri and Flynn. as a brother ship, yeah, as friends, yeah, but not in that way. But Yuri and Flynn are really well together, and part of me wishes that Flynn was in more of the game, but with the part of the game that Flynn is in, I think he does well. I will say, the 360 version, very disappointing that they have Flynn on the box art. Most of you are going to know what I'm talking about, but Flynn is on the box art, and they refuse to make him a fully playable character until this PS3 version. They disrespected him, but whatever. Flynn is a great character. I think that's why Flynn is second, and no one saw coming that Yuri is, like, the best character in this game. I've already talked about it, so I'm not going to say it again, but his justice, his way of doing things, he's kind of like a vigilante anti-hero, but also not really. Yuri isn't, like, incredibly emo. He just kind of believes, like, he does what's right in his own way, so he's handled much better than, like, Squall from FF8 or something like that, because Yuri isn't necessarily, like, yeah, he could be kind of... But, you could kind of see why Yuri would be, like, oh, like, he's emo, he's kind of mean. No, he's not really... I mean, yeah, like, a little bit, but, like, Yuri opens up. And I love how Yuri opens up to the group and all that. And he kind of breaks away from the lone wolf phase, is what I wanted to do. It's all cool, Connor. Don't worry about it. To each their own. If you don't like Yuri, that's fine. I just love Yuri, so I didn't want to read that comment out loud because it broke my heart. But you know what? To each their own. That's totally okay. Alright, this went on way longer than I wanted to, but really quickly, I just want to talk about some other characters. Hunting blades. What the hell is the point of the hunting blades? Like, I tried so hard to, understand the hunting blades. I don't understand the point of them. Clint and Tyson specifically, they tried to give Nan development with Carol in the side quest. They tried to make Nan, like, Carol's, like, wants to be close with her and all that. But, like, what is the point of Clint and Tyson? They're kind of pointless thinking about it. Like, I mean, they have some things. Like, they just kill monsters. I don't really understand what more than that they do. So it's very, very, they could have done more with the hunting blades, but I guess they were okay. Zaghi, also, what's the point? I don't understand the point of Zaghi. Zaghi has no purpose, literally. He's just crazy. He just wants to kill Yuri or Flynn at first and then Yuri, but, you know, Zaghi's pointless. We don't have to talk about Zaghi because you all know how I feel about Zaghi. I don't really have any other characters to talk about. Other characters are just okay. Like, they're fine. But yeah. I don't think I have any other character to talk about. Antilochea were fine. Side characters were fine. They were all, like, fine. They did their purpose. This game just clearly focused on Brave Vesperia, which is great because the guild mechanic's great. And I still believe that the characters go well together. Like, when I was ranking the characters, you guys probably thought, these characters don't sound very good. I feel like these characters are just better together. No pun intended. But, I feel like these characters go well together as opposed to being separate. Like, when you take them separately, they're okay characters. They're pretty decent. They're pretty solid. But I feel like they're amazing with their banter and stuff. Like, that's what really makes me like this game so much. Yeah, Brave Vesperia has become, like, one of my favorite groups of people. Like, as a group, they're amazing. I love them. But, I think that's gonna end my review. Man, I am hot. I need to eat something, and, but, you know. Yeah, I have to wrap this up. This went longer than I wanted, not by much, but, you know, it be that way. I love this game. I want to talk about it. But, yeah. Those of you watching on YouTube, this is not the end of the playthrough. I quote that. Not the end of the playthrough. I will be back with the post-game. I don't know when. I have to grind and do some stuff to prepare for it. So, it might be a bit. I don't know what's going to take this game's place, but I'm going to do some preparing for it. So, yeah. That's it. I love how you saved a few times just because I do that too. Saved and, like, did save. Yeah. No, I'm bored. I'm just talking about the characters. I'm just finding stuff to do. Frankly, I'm surprised there's more heart to break. I thought I had done enough. Raptor, you can never do enough to break my heart. My heart's big. I have a Blastia heart, like Raven. Can't be broken. But anyway, Tales of Vesperia main story is done. I will be back with the post-game, I promise. I just have to prepare for it, and it will happen. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you all for coming to stream. We had a lot of people. I saw 6 viewers. I even saw 7 viewers during the Duke fight, so thank you all for joining. I'm glad everyone enjoyed the stream. So, yeah, I'll be back with Lufia 2 tomorrow. No stream on Wednesday. I'll be back with Lufia 2 tomorrow and Thursday. So, this stream's going to be a little light. Streams are going to be light this time, but, yeah, Lufia 2 tomorrow and Thursday will do. And then, I'll think about what takes Vesperia's place before I do the post game. But, yeah, thank you all for coming. I'll see you all next time.